So today I'm going to teach you how to make these cute little slippers that are super easy to make. You can add a button to it if you wish, or you leave it out. That's totally fine. You can use any stitch you like, and it's very easy, super beginner friendly, and you are going to love making these slippers. How fast they are to make. You're gonna make so many of them as gifts or whatever you like, or even for yourself, right? I will teach you how to make this and then what to add on the bottom so that you won't slip around with your slippers, and then you are ready to go and enjoy your slippers. So let's get going, and I'll show you what you need and how to get started. Here we go. Hi, my name is Nikki and I'm the creator of Nikki's Homemade Crafts. So in order to make the slippers, you're going to need some yarn in order to make 2 squares. That's all. You pick whatever stitch you like. I would recommend not too holey. Make it nice and tight, but you need to make 2 squares. Any yarn you wish, any stitch you wish, whatever you like. It can be knitted, it can be Tunisian crochet, it can be crochet, whatever you like. So, however, I do recommend you make sure that you don't pick yarn that is super silky or slippery in the first place, so that in case you don't want to put anything underneath to anti-slip it, you still want to make sure you don't slip around with your slippers, right? So, for mine, I used a billow, which is from We Crochet. It is bulky cotton yarn, and you really just need 1 skein or 1 hank of this yarn in order to make 2 slippers. So cotton yarn actually has a little bit of friction to it, so it actually will help you not slip around. Acrylic, polyester, and bamboo yarn or silky yarn might not be ideal for this, but you can try it, especially if you use anti-slip underneath. You should be fine. So in order to figure out how big your squares need to be, I made you this table right here. It is important to know, and this is why I put this kind of on the side here, to remember which yarn type you're using, and that some of the stitches have a bigger stretch than others, so especially your tension or whatever. So make sure that when you pick your sizing, I would recommend going down a size, especially if you're in between sizes. Go down a size because stitches do stretch out, and you want to make sure you're not losing your slippers. So you can see that there's kind of a very easy pattern here. So for example, for shoe size, this is in US 5 and 6. So you would use a 8 times 8 inch square. Shoe size 7 and 8, it would be 8.5. And for 9 and 10, it would be 9. So in my opinion, it doesn't really matter if this is male or female because of the stretch. So I would test it out. If you feel like there's too much of a gap between men and women, then you might have to adjust it a little bit. But this is according to the size I figured out, and it works very well. So once you have your squares, 2 of them, because you have 2 feet, right? Then you're gonna get started. By the way, if you want the written tutorial for this pattern, down below is a link in the description so you can have that as well. So here we go. I have here my square. So once you have your square ready to go, this is a 9 times 9, by the way, you are going to do 2 things. You're going to work on the front, and then you're going to work on the back, right? So I'm going to start with the back, but I will first teach you how to do the front. Why? Because it's easier to understand. So the front is going to be in a way that you have it's like taking your entire square and dividing it by 3. So why? Because the foot is like in the middle, and then it's like that you're going over, right? And then another over. But because you don't just do it like this because it would look funky, you would do 2/3 of it first. We're going to crochet this around in a circle and pull it tight, just like here. And then you have this one that you're going to fold over and then sew onto it. Okay, so it's a step-by-step process. But on the back, on the other hand, so again, this was the front, right? And the back, all you're gonna do is fold it in half and then sew it up. So do you see there's 2 parts to it? One of them in the front, you're gonna do 2/3, right? So that means 2/3 is going to be sewn together, and then the last 1/3 is going to be folded over, and then the back it's going to be 1/2 sewn together. So we're going to start in the back just that we have that part done, and then we're going to worry about the front. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half. And then you can whip stitches, you can slip stitches, you can whatever you want. You can use the mattress stitch, whatever you feel like is the best stitch for you. Anything that sews these two parts together. I'm just going to use the whip stitch to make it easy and also to match my first slipper. So once you finished the back, sewing that together, right, you're going to fasten off and weave in. I haven't done that yet because we're going to do the front first. So now that we did the back, we're going to do the front. And as I said before, you're going to take your part of the square on the front here and divide it by 3. So you have 3 parts of it, 1, 2, and then 3, right? And about 2/3 of them you're going to fold over, and you're going to have that 1/3 left over on the side, and we're going to leave that be. So what we're going to do now is you're going to take your yarn and you're going to weave it through like back and forth between the stitches until you come back here where you started with your yarn, such that it's a circle. And what you want to do in the end is you're going to pull just like you would when you have a hat or something, so that you are closing this up. Instead of having a big hole, you're going to have it tightened up. So let me show you what that means. So you're going to start on the opposite side where your yarn is starting, and then you're going to weave in your yarn all the way back and forth until you're at the end again. So you can see that I went all the way around, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between the stitches. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it closed. There you go. So you're going to fasten it off to make sure this stays closed, right? So make like a knot or something, but make sure it's kind of tight, or go back and forth and make sure that it stays where it is. There we go. And now what you're going to do is you're going to fold over your piece. It is ideal if you can put your foot in here first so that you can make sure it's the proper way, right? So that you don't have it too short or something like that. So put in your foot if you can and adjust accordingly, but you can also use a model or something like that. But typically it is just folding it over like this so that it is over this line, kind of hanging over. And what we're going to do now is going to sew around here until we reach this corner, and then we're done. We can now add then the button to it, and you're ready to go. So I like holding it like that. So I tested it out on my foot just to make sure that it's proper, that both of my slippers are exactly the same. And now I'm just gonna sew this onto the bottom part of it that we already have there. So it is the flop here. So it's this top part right here that we flipped over, and we're gonna sew it right underneath, to the part underneath. You can pick any stitch you like to sew this on. I typically use like the whip stitch or the mattress stitch or something like that. Of course, make sure that you're using the matching yarn so that you don't see the sewn-in stitches. So now that we did that, you can now add a button to it if you like. So I like using the same yarn I already have. I kind of weave it through until I need to get to that spot. And then I just add my button to it, and then I'm ready to go, and I can use my slippers that I made from a square. There we go. Now we made 2 slippers, both equally made from a square, just mirror image of them. It is very easy to do so. You can really use any stitch you like in order to make your slippers. Now, in order to prevent any slippers from slipping around on the ground, you can use 2 different things, or actually multiple different things. This one is some slipper bottoms that I got from We Crochet. I'm gonna link them down below in the description. You can add these onto the bottom of your slippers. So these have like big pieces and small pieces. These are made from suede. So you simply sew them on and then you have a non-slip bottom to your slippers. You can also use hot glue to make some dollops on the bottom, or you can use this fun thing, which I got off of Amazon. Again, link down below. So this is called Neon and Glow. It's typically for fabric, right? But the cool thing on it is this is really fun for kids or grandkids or even adults. You can use this to make dollops on the bottom as well, right? And then you can make faces with them, you know, with this different paint, so that when someone has their slippers up, you know, like, and you can see the bottom of their slippers, they will see the faces on there. You can make like stars and suns and a moon or smiley faces or whatever you like using this. And it's not only going to be preventing the children or whoever is wearing the slippers to slip, it also makes it fun because it glows in the dark. You know where they are, right? Especially if there was some light that shine onto them. And it also makes it fun, right? You can write down, please, if you can read this, please bring me yarn. So wouldn't that be fun or something to add this on the bottom of your slippers to make sure they don't slip around, right? So there's many different ways which you can add on the bottom of it to make them non-slip. But ideally you still want to use yarn that is not super silky, so that has a little bit of friction to it. That is ideal for slippers like this. And as I said, you don't have to add the little buttons to it, but you can even add a bow to it or a pom-pom or whatever you like, or you just leave it blank if that's what you choose to do. So you can even add something inside here if you want to, you know, a little bit more ergonomic. You can add something there, maybe glue it onto it, even with hot glue or something, to have a little bit more ergonomic if that's what you like. But yeah, there's so many different possibilities of what you can do to make them non-slip and more comfortable, but they're so easy to make. So hopefully this was helpful to you on how to make these cute little slippers, make them non-slip, make them fun, even have messages on the bottom for friends, family, or for yourself, just to have fun, you know, watching them in a mirror. And let me know down below if you like these slippers. Leave a comment, give a thumbs up, and share this video with your friends so they have some fun too making these slippers. As I said before, there is a link down below in the description if you want the written tutorial for this pattern. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell to get a notification the next time I am live or publish a new video just like this. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!